3, 2, 1. Round them up. You know the drill. It's that time again, going on 8 years, which is unfucking believable. The Slam Pigs podcast have returned. Good to have our buddy TJ as our guest last month. This month, though, OG formula at its finest. No extra fixins, no side dishes. You're getting meat and potatoes, baby, because the man himself, it ain't the pigs without my co-host, my brother, my compadre for 8 years now. Michael, you were in full ham mode last week. This week, will the streak continue? Welcome back. See episode 2, season 5. Holy shit. What is up, man? How you been? Where can everyone catch you if you want them to check you out on social media?
Doing great. Glad to be back. How are all my dirty little pigs doing? Yeah, it's been a long ride. It's been a fun ride. I didn't know we were like a Netflix series now where we had seasons. But
well, I figure
that's cool.
I figure all the kids are doing it. So
as long as we don't have to be like Raw, right, where it's a season premiere and it's really nothing.
I mean,
it's our season premiere of Raw. Here's nothing.
I feel like our season premiere would equate to like, hey, let's just like stream on our phone from a bar.
Like, it would be us going to something. It would be us going to some show.
And unlike Nikki Bella, maybe WWE would at least acknowledge our bar show. So I said 8 years, and I want to catch you off guard with this. I shot you the message last night. I could not stop laughing about this. So I'm going to say 8 years, guys. I'm not fucking around. I totally forget probably, Michael, 80% of the episodes we've ever done at this point. Fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
But I did come across sometimes when I'm going back, adding them to the new channel, cheap plug, hit that subscribe right down here, a brand new channel on YouTube, add to the playlist of the old seasons. I find a gem every now and then. And boy, did I find one this week. You've already heard it, but right now I'm going to play it for the listeners. I'm still waiting for this this thrust into the pro wrestling world you claimed you were about to. But let's not spoil it. This was back at our SummerSlam 2016 post show, which we did a lot of. That was our main gimmick, I feel like, going live, baby, live, right?
Yeah.
So these were your thoughts on the then probably been on the main roster, barely called up a couple months, Apollo Crews. Here's Michael's take, 2016 Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews. That's his actual name.
Not Apollo Crews.
Or Creed.
You said
or Grues, or
anyway.
whatever the fuck his name is. I feel like
what do they say? The King of Strong Smile.
Yeah, the King of Strong Smile. Yeah. If he gets the Intercontinental Championship, I'm going to go into the wrestling business and go after that Intercontinental belt. Because that, to me, says anybody can wear this Intercontinental Championship as long as you get a big enough push from WWE. I'll just go take a bunch of steroids and be 5'11" tall, and I can win the Intercontinental Championship. It's just terrible for me. I feel like Apollo Crews is the most overrated wrestler in the WWE right now by far.
Jeez, that's pretty.
I'm sorry. Apollo Crews is the absolute definition of generic nothing wrestler in this company. I feel like Apollo Crews in 2 years will either not be in this company or he will be the epitome of a jobber in this business.
Or the Impact Heavyweight Champion.
Or, yeah, hopefully he'll be in TNA or something, because I do not see...
Broken Apollo Crews?
Apollo Crews is total shit.
Well, so, Michael, how's wrestling school going? I mean, it's been years now. What's the biggest name you've been on a card with? Because of
let's just get this out of the way. I don't think my take has aged that poorly.
You know what? In all fairness, and it's great to even kind of hear me on the live stream. I was like continuously reeling in, like, we got that, we get it. I
may have had one or two drinks that evening, so things happen.
You should have puke on that one.
Yeah, I mean, there was no vomiting. It was just straight passionate rage about my wrestling content. And congrats to Apollo Crews. Okay, he's still around somewhere. He's in the WWE.
Somewhere.
I think he was in NXT there for a while, and he's still there. So I mean, good worker. I'll give him that. The guy can work. But I don't think my take has aged that poorly. He's pretty much a jobber now. As far as main roster goes, I mean, you might see him You see him on Main Event every once in a while.
Well, yeah, everyone's. I was going to say though, you're not wrong. A lot of that was kind of pretty much on the money. I don't know if it equates to the booking. A lot with this specific guy, I say it's more down to the guy. Yeah, I never feel even when they made him forcibly use the Nigerian accent, which was still weird to me. I mean, but you know, and devil's advocate, you and I are those fans that clamor for the old days of characters. So whatever.
I think they tried really hard with him with different gimmicks and whatnot to get some sort of connection with him in the crowd, whether it was a good or a bad one. And I just don't think it's ever really happened. And I actually, when you sent me that last night, I got on Google and I'm like, oh, I wonder what he's up to lately. And he did get drafted in the last draft. It said Apollo Crews ready to make his return to Raw. You know, a new look Apollo Crews again. But I haven't seen anything.
I feel like maybe in another era, and if that Nigerian prince gimmick was booked more savagely and vicious, might have had a shot. Maybe.
Just felt like it was kind of a ripoff of Coming to America.
And it was no coincidence, I believe, that gimmick debuted right when the sequel came out on streaming.
Yes.
Around the same time.
It was just, I was like, oh, this is awful. But hey, it got him a little run there. It got him some TV time. Like I said, guy's an incredible worker. Don't get me wrong. That guy can work his ass off.
He can.
But other than that, what is he giving you? Like,
is it fair to say now, 8 years later almost, that the new mantle holder has taken the place of Apollo Crews as Dominic Mysterio for you easily?
Well, I mean, I've made it pretty clear. So I guess we'll have to wait another 8 years to see how that take goes. But
there's not going to be.
I think I'm one.
I think you lucked out this week because we don't got too much Dirty Dom to talk about. He did main event Raw. He was in War Games. We're gonna not go down the entire our thoughts on Survivor Series and Raw, guys. We're just gonna dabble because this is old news now. But there's no way in hell with us coming back, bringing the Slam Pigs back to you, the sweet little piggies, that we couldn't talk about besides R-Truth. The biggest return. I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Everybody knows we're talking about CM Punk, Michael. Were you shocked? Yeah. Were you flat out? Was it a moment where it made you feel like a younger fan again, or you just pretty much thought that they were doing a great job of keeping it under wraps? You knew the whole time the setup was too perfect, Chicago. What did you really think?
Honestly, I didn't think it was going to happen. Especially, I guess when they came out and announced just randomly on Raw that Orton was going to be the last member of War Games. Yeah. I was like, okay. So CM Punk's not coming because they don't want Orton to get shit on when he comes and he's the mystery fifth man. They don't want him to get booed out of the building. Like, they don't want it to be like a Rumble 2014 all over again when Rey Mysterio makes his return and gets booed out of the fucking building because he's not Daniel Bryan. So yeah, I was pretty surprised, especially the way they did it. Like, you thought that it was that patented Triple H putting let's put the shit on the screen there. Let's go home.
Oh, that's what he did in NXT so many times. How many Brooklyn pay-per-views did they used to do? Like McIntyre and Adam Cole would debut.
Yeah,
I love that. I'm not even going to lie. Now, don't do it too much. And it takes specials.
Don't make it predictable. But I will say, all in all, pretty surprised. And honestly, I'm not mad about it. I'm guessing that was going to be the next question there. A lot of people are iffy on it. I think it's a good thing. I think you're going to see like the real CM Punk.
Here's the thing. And I know you're going to agree with me. And I don't mean to speak for you, but we're sophisticated enough wrestling fans to understand that when certain guys, they can have all their drama and all their bullshit, and as long as they're not just unbookable pieces of shit like Del Rio is, just horrible people, when they're on their A game, that's why they're there in the first place. That's what we want to see. And if they're willing to play ball, fucking bring it on. You know what I mean? And if they can still go and are willing to play ball and shit's gravy, and comes down to getting your money's worth at the end of the day. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think the biggest issue that he really had in AEW is
I'd say
he didn't respect any of them. He knew he was the big fish in the pond. You know what I mean? And he felt like he was around a bunch of people that weren't really adults, for one. Yeah. I think he saw he was in a poorly run company with no real leadership in it, except for, basically the cool kids on the bus that decided to take over. You know what I mean? So I think in WWE, he's going to fit in a lot better, because I think that's what he was trying to instill in those guys in AEW. Was like, hey, this is how we should be doing this shit, and nobody wanted to listen, which is not shocking with some of the talent that's over there in AEW. I think we all know the Elite are pretty much class clowns that are in charge somehow.
Well, even after the alleged NDAs were signed with the Bucks and Omega and Punk, where they cannot, I don't know what people expected that Raw promo. He cannot legally talk about them. Why would he? We're moving forward. Yeah. A lot of the underlings during that time, the Brandon Cutlers, fucking Ryan Nemeth, would just take these pot shots unprovoked, off script, out of character at Punk. Punk would either say something passive aggressive on Twitter, not being a direct dick, or confront them like an adult backstage, or ban them. Okay. Phil was brought in to Collision to make him pretty much the harbinger, and not just the harbinger, pretty much the leader, like the Dusty Rhodes of Collision, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be his show.
Exactly. And he's seeing these assholes come in, trying to go into business for themselves. When fires are trying to slowly be put out. Remember that phase where they were supposed to have an alleged meeting with the Elite, Jericho and Punk. We're gonna quote men fences, brother, which never happened. Shocker.
Never happened.
And you know why? Because the Elite fucking backed out of it. It came out.
Correct.
Just these fucking underlings. And the most frustrating part about me, see, and I know we're all over the place. It's the Punk situation, so I guess people are going to expect us to be. For me, the Punk situation in AEW boiled down to three things that did not click. Philosophies, okay? Misconceptions, and just respect. You know what I mean?
And culture. If you had a fourth one, I think culture would be in there.
I don't think that Phil Brooks came in there already humbled from his failed MMA career, right? The man's going in there with no chips on his shoulder. He knows his body isn't what it used to. The only chips that he's got is that he knows he's still a hell of a promo, right? He doesn't fully know if he can still do it. It's a crapshoot. And we saw some matches he could. Michael, I don't know how much you saw of him in AEW. In some matches he couldn't.
I saw most of his stuff, yeah.
I think when he would make suggestions to young guys, it's this new era. And I'm not going boomers versus Gen Z. I'm not doing that. It's this new era of talent, this PWG-esque self-trained, because the Bucks are self-trained. They take it insultingly when it's not trying to come on. I think the third one I wanted to say is misunderstood. I think CM Punk is one of the most misunderstood professional wrestlers probably of all time, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I agree with a lot of what you said there. And it's not just Punk that has had to deal with this. We've heard this from other like backstage agents and vets that have been in AEW that have tried to pass on that wisdom, and they've said firsthand that some of these people just don't want to hear it. They don't want to take any advice, direction. Like, I got this, Grandpa, which I think is crazy. Like, if you did that in WWE,
did somebody directly say that? Not to cut you off.
Well, no, I'm paraphrasing, okay. But I know people like William Regal and others have pretty much corroborated that, they've tried to really give a lot of advice out, and a lot of that talent is just not interested.
But see, then you have like this week, you got, I don't know if it's the company pushing for these fucking guys, pushing for their talent to do damage control, because God knows when Phil showed up at Survivor Series, you were seeing talent, you could see right through it too, being asked to tweet random pro AEW shit. Like Matt Menard from the former Jericho Appreciation Society, out of nowhere, right? AEW Save Wrestling, shit like that, right? From all this talent. But then it comes out this week that Britt Baker is fucking complaining about she got 0 live mic time this year, and go back. Yeah. That's true, and that's shocking.
Yeah, I mean, is it shocking though with AEW?
No.
How have they presented their women's division since their inception?
Right. Let's get
like an afterthought, right? Like just filler time. They have never made any women's program worth like being watchable. Like, and that's their fault. They have a ton of talent there. I mean, really? For Christ's sake, if anybody can rival WWE's female talent, it's AEW. And I feel like, once again, there's too many kids running the fucking show. Like, it's crazy to me that you have all this talent. Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa. You got Paige back there. I'm sorry. Saraya.
Right. I just want to say Saraya.
Tony Storm, like, there's nothing but talent in that division.
That's the best thing they're doing with any woman right now is her, I feel like. Tony. I'm loving the timeless stuff. I really am.
Yeah. And she's getting screen time, but she's not the only one in the division. Like you have 2 female champions.
I was actually, Michael, I hopped on Twitter this evening after dinner because I don't watch these I don't even watch the WWE shows weekly. Do you?
No.
I watch highlights like all of you guys do too, probably on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook.
Who has? I mean, honestly, I don't have cable, so and I'm not gonna. If I did, I think I'm a little too busy as far as being an adult to sit down and watch wrestling for 3 hours uninterrupted with my 7-year-old.
If you go on some of these threads, God help you guys. If you do on like, say, Tony Khan posts on the official AEW thread a graphic of Abaddon in October, right? Because Halloween was there, so let's bring back Abaddon once a year. That entire thread, shit you not, guys, go back from like 2 months ago, a month ago, was just people saying, well, it'd be nice to see her around other months of the year. And lo and behold, on Rampage this week, she showed up to fucking wrestle Julia Hart. Now, I know that doesn't mean there's going to be a women's movement. That doesn't mean shit. But I feel like that does mean Tony Khan is such a fucking numbers guy and a nerd and a stats guy and an analytics guy. He does sometimes listen to the fans, but not in the big, important fucking ways. Abaddon! How about fixing these goddamn mid-card titles? That's a whole... Let's get back to Punk real quick. One more thing I want to say on Punk, and I'll let you have the entire floor. It's scary to think a guy that I never even understood was why he was signed there in the first place, right? I never got it. It was just a friend signing. The guy was around the indies forever. Yes, he was funny. Colt Cabana, had he never been there, that press conference wouldn't have gone down like that. The rumors spread from talent there that saying that Punk was trying to keep him off TV would have never happened. All of that for fucking employing Colt Cabana. I don't think, the one thing I totally disagree that Punk did terribly was how he presented himself in public at the scrum. Okay? Should have been handled backstage, right? You do the shit backstage, you're grown ass men, it's business. That's the only thing. But I can also...
But let's be fair here. He didn't start it.
That's where I was going. I see it from his end completely. If you've been gone for 7 years and you come back, not because you need the fucking money, by the way, because you just miss it. You see this new way to do it where it's a company that's not going to make you miserable, so they said back then. And your health and Dr. Z packs and all that shit, Michael, from 2014 that we heard so many times. No Rybacks here, right?
Yeah.
And you go and all this fucking shit. Why? Why would you want to deal with these? Why would you want to sabotage Colt Cabana? He's so below him, not just financially. I don't know if they'd squash it, but they just agreed to the "you're dead to me" type shit. He never talked about Cabana publicly. Why the fuck would he want to come? He was so happy to be there, right? When he first got to AEW. He's got to deal with this shit from these fucking guys who, don't want to listen. Guys like Hangman Page, who have yet to be punished. He's another one. The actual harbinger for this was that terrible work shoot promo, because Hangman Page on the mic is Ambien to me. Nothing ever happened to him. He just 2 weeks ago had a, quote, greatest hardcore match of all time. All I saw was a 5-hour pay-per-view of the most overbooked shit I've ever seen in my life. This company desperately needed Punk. I don't care what no one can deny that Survivor Series last week, Michael, that had to be embarrassing to every employee of that company to see CM Punk walk out on that company. And the reasons to keep him there in the first place were so fucking petty. Jack Perry, all that. Yeah. You essentially, to equate this to guys that are in our kind of era, you just let go, I say The Rock, for fucking Crash Holly, to appease Crash Holly and backstage politics. That's what that equates to with Jack Perry and CM Punk. End rant. Michael, the floor is yours. I don't get it.
I mean, I totally agree with almost everything you just said. I put a lot of this, I'm not saying, we all know CM Punk can be an asshole. That's not breaking news. But CM Punk never in this, because I actually watched a really interesting documentary on YouTube the other night that just came out. I wish I could remember who did it so I could give him credit. But it was over an hour long, in depth, on his timeline in AEW and what happened and what went wrong on both sides.
I'll try to throw it up here while you're going. Give him credit.
And it was super in depth and good stuff. And I will say he never started any of this. He actually came in there trying to bring everyone up, like trying to help the product. He wanted this product to succeed. And I think the biggest underlining issue, like you said with Colt Cabana, I think even bigger, that underlining issue with Adam Page was the fact that he's with the Elite and they saw Punk as the threat to their TV time, to what they built, to their show. Well, they're basically, and Hangman knew he was going to end up losing the belt to Punk. So he had to come out, go to business for himself, because from what all the stuff I've read and through that documentary, he came out and cut a promo when they were face to face in the ring that was nothing what they discussed backstage. And Punk handled it like a pro. Punk just did what he was supposed to do. I don't think anything was ever really said backstage. It was just kind of noted because eventually I think Punk got hurt shortly after that. So he never really got to give his receipt. And that's when he came back from injury, is when he decided to cut that promo on Adam Page. And like, all right, I haven't forgotten about you, motherfucker. Now you all want to act like children? I'll show you how an adult behaves. And then, once again, more issues where it just kept going and going with the Jack Perry stuff, with the brawl out scrum. I mean,
I still can't tell if that Eddie Kingston promo was a work or not.
That was a work.
Yeah.
He said,
I think that
was a work.
That just speaks to how fucking great Eddie Kingston is on the mic.
Well, both of them. I think they were blurring the lines a little bit. But from what I read, it was everything they had discussed. Two pros, literally. They only got that. My only regret is that they only got to work one match together. Because I think it made sense because the next program for him after Eddie Kingston was MJF.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say this, but God, I love that feud.
MJF and Punk.
Yes.
For me,
oh my God, you had gold. You had gold in the palm of your hands, and you let it go. Like you said, because of stupid, petulant children like Jack Perry, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks.
For me,
literally,
for my taste, it's got to be the greatest AEW feud of all time.
Oh my God, just their promo in the ring before they even touched like the 20-minute long mic.
And
battle.
It wasn't just that first one. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to blow it all in that 20-minute. No, they just kept fucking doing bangers.
No,
like,
it kept getting better and better. Like that was literally probably the first storyline that I was truly enthralled in with AEW. Like, okay, and maybe this shit isn't so bad.
You know me for their fucking dog collar match when Punk came back to the ROH, the AFI music. And I was sitting at home with a wrestling boner for that because, I love my AFI.
Well, and he catches a lot of shit for that because they say he's basically just copying old feuds when I think he's actually paying tribute to Roddy Piper and Greg Valentine. The same thing with when he worked with Sammy Guevara. I think it was. People
are fucking idiots. People don't understand everything in wrestling, Michael, from the time you and I were wombs till now. We're fucking almost middle-aged. It's all a rehash. There's just tweaks made. That's fucking wrestling.
I don't know if it was Sammy Guevara. He worked with a guy, basically, and they paid tribute to the Bret Hart 1-2-3 Kid match.
Right.
Which is basically the match that they worked.
I do remember that.
It was epic. It was a great match. Why not try and pay tribute to something like that? Why not try to recreate a match that made people feel something? Literally, that 1-2-3 Kid Bret Hart match was from a random Monday Night Raw, and people still talk about it.
That is a top 5 Raw match. I don't care what anyone says. Michael, real quick, that YouTube channel you're talking about earlier it's the 2.5-hour Punk documentary, right? That just went up 6 days ago. Drop.
Yes, I think it's pretty. Yeah, pretty recent.
The YouTube channel, guys, is Drop Mick Wrestling. I'm actually going to check it out myself. It's I'm seeing the trailer here. It looks pretty well edited and done. So
yeah, it was really in depth. It was all about his AEW run, and it was really good. If you guys get a chance to check that out, that guy did an amazing job.
So enough about his past. That's the thing. You gotta.
Yes, let's start. Let's go over to the positive side. Are you not just salivating at the possibilities right now with all this talent to work with in WWE? What you're going to see with CM Punk?
I think we're going to say it on 3, and I think we're going to say the same thing. The Seth Rollins fan cam video at the debut, of course.
Yes.
Worker.
That's supposed to be, from what I've read, his first big feud.
Work or shoot. 1, 2, 3. Work. Workity, work. But
obviously,
a pretty decently done work. It's just, it should have had someone else besides Cole holding him back. Like, you know, that was a dead
And
giveaway.
Corey Graves.
The stutter step 1980s. Why I oughta. That was kind of a giveaway.
Lost in the shuffle in the background was Randy Orton just pulling up a chair like, all right, can we hurry it up?
Did you see him and Jey Uso were just like cracking jokes and like lo-fi?
Yeah.
And Sami Zayn was just like confused.
Yeah, what's going on?
Is that one of the top 3 loudest reactions you ever heard live?
I mean, in recent memory, definitely. It's definitely up there. Like that whole crowd all night, though. Let's be honest. If we're gonna put Punk's reaction up there, Randy Orton's reaction was hella loud.
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso's entrance was crazy. I mean, that was just the epitome of a great crowd to have for a pay-per-view. That crowd was up all night long. I felt like
messaged me yourself.
With everything.
You sent me the message right when that show went off the air last week. You said, "Dude, that may be one of the best start-to-finish pay-per-views I've ever done."
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily because every match was a banger. I think the atmosphere just makes the pay-per-view so much better, at least to watch from home, especially. You had from start to finish. I mean, Chicago is known for their rowdy crowd, and they were legit into it all night. They weren't hijacking the show.
Such a spoiled fucking city, by the way, with wrestling. You guys are so fucking spoiled. You get
all the good shit.
You get Forbidden Door every fucking year.
Yeah.
You get Jesus Christ.
But I mean, hey, I guess they've earned it. That's a good crowd out there. I wish some of our closer crowds could be that loud, but
yeah. At least we're not. At least we're not fucking Nashville.
Yeah, that's true.
Christ.
Or fucking Norfolk.
Or Corpus Christi, Texas. That's actually, they've like done research. That's their, excuse me, indigestion. That's their worst town is Corpus Christi.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I guess Dom's not doing his job.
Well, I mean, you just go back. I mean, yeah, it is 40 years, but go back and look at those world-class shows in Corpus Christi. Just nuclear fucking heat. By the way, I've not seen Iron Claw yet. I want to.
Same.
Let's talk about his promo on Raw, Michael. Was it disappointing? Not for me, not what he said. It was how it was placed, booked, and paced.
I kind of agree with you there as well. I think it was just kind of, it was what there wasn't enough purpose behind it. We're glad you're back. We're excited you're back, but can I get your plans a little bit? Like, why are you back? Like in reality, like who are you going after? Like, I guess it could have used a little more substance to it. Like, it just felt a little too generic. Like, I'm home, you know what I mean? Rather than I'm back and I'm coming after everyone. I mean, just say something to get me, like, because there was I never really felt like the promo ended properly. Like, okay, so what's next? You know what I mean?
So I don't know if you listen to the Busted Open guys every now and then, Michael. But
no, I haven't.
Ray, God bless Mark Henry. I check him out every now and then, and I was listening to Mark Henry's take on the CM Punk promo on Raw. And actually, I haven't had a Twitter account back for long, but I actually got over 1,000 likes on this, 48,000 views. And I put, this is my tweet, Mark Henry has the absolute best take I've heard on the CM Punk return promo. I'm going to play it. It's a minute long. I'm going to play it right now. I'm going to see what you think, Michael, all right?
All right. I enjoyed the promo. I thought it was very informative. I thought it was real. And there were people that didn't like the fact that he said home. And let me remind y'all, they always say home is where the heart is. So if his heart was there and his heart was broken, what do you do when your heart is broken? Scorched earth. You let the world know that your heart is hurt. And you want everybody else to feel pain too. So it seemed like with a sound mind and a comfortable heart, now you get a Punk that's not worried about sticking it to you, but you get a CM Punk that's like, I am who I am. And that's basically the promo that he cut. It was like Popeye on steroids.
Okay. First of all, God bless Mark Henry. Protect that man at all costs, Michael. Love Big Mark. What do you think of what he said?
I don't know. I guess I slightly disagree. Like, I guess he was a bigger fan of the promo than I was, but that's fine. Like, I guess he took from it differently than what I did. I guess I was looking for, something a little more memorable for his first promo back, but I can understand why he said what he said.
I think they're waiting. We're not.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to, I guess, stretch this out a little bit. I guess they don't want to rush it because, I mean, the Rumble's still, 2 months away? Yeah. They want to get him. I mean, I saw on Twitter that he did post an old picture, and he's basically calling out Dominic Mysterio as his first victim. But God help us. But yeah. So, I mean, I guess with this week announcing Randy Orton's on SmackDown, I've read that Punk's going to be on Raw, at least for the time being. So I can see how they're going to build that up a little bit, especially with Rollins kind of with McIntyre right now still going with that program. They have to give it time to marinate properly, even though Rollins went out of his way once again to mention Punk in his promo. But yeah, I think they're trying to slow build with that one. And I've even heard some juicy little rumors for Mania.
So I have.
Could there be another Stone Cold return?
That's actually one of my segments I was going to get to here in a little bit. You son of a bitch. We'll get there in a second. I actually had a booking idea, and it's probably terrible and lame, and I know you'll give it to me right between the eyes. This is what I would kind of do right now, because this always happens with Punk or a guy who's always better as a heel when they come back. It's happening to Adam Copeland right now. I feel like he's drowning right now in buzz. There's no buzz. Eventually, fans kind of get bored with him in this babyface role. The history with Paul Heyman, everyone would assume, like, Roman and Punk are going to fuck it over and fight over Paul Heyman's services, or is Punk still bitter about,
Yeah.
I have booked in my teensy-weensy little brain, and the one part of it that does wrestling, this is what I would do. I didn't fully hate the two-man power trip with Triple H and Austin. You form yourselves, because the bloodline's got to die. It's just Jey Uso being silly now and Solo jobbing and beating John Cena. It's just got to be Roman now, I feel like, right? The brothers can have their match at Mania. You form the tribal society. You mesh the worlds. Roman and CM Punk, the amazing, unstoppable heel group. You have CM Punk cost Cody a chance at the number one contendership at the Royal Rumble. You could do Punk and Cody at the Rumble, okay? Yeah. Roman could do Orton at the Rumble. Then you have the Tribal Society with Paul Heyman reigning supreme going into Mania season. Night 1, Rollins and Punk. Night 2, Cody finishes the story. Tribal Society splits up about late spring. Then you do Punk and Roman at SummerSlam. Paul Heyman chooses CM Punk, turning Roman, and I feel like this time he'll be an ultra babyface going into Mania next year. CM Punk the heel, Roman Reigns the awesome shit-kicking babyface. That's what my booking brain's telling me to do.
I mean, I like it. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
I don't think it's what they're going to do either. But...
I guess if I was going to book it, realistically, I guess I'll just give you my prediction on what I think they're actually going to do. I think it's going to start, obviously, he's going to work his way through some guys on Raw. His first big feud, I think, is going to be, I think he's going to actually, because I've heard it's supposed to be him and Rollins at the Rumble. I think I would actually predict him being in the Rumble. Because Cody's announced he's in the Rumble. I think you put CM Punk in there. You're going to have LA Knight in the Rumble. You need that star power in the Rumble just to create an allure, because I think everyone's just kind of assuming it's going to be Cody, right?
You got to get Gunther in there. You got to get Sami Zayn in there with hope that Sami Zayn, because he's been talking about the world title a lot in recent weeks.
Yeah, but do you really realistically think Sami Zayn could win the Rumble?
In a way, I do, but I just see the shift now and the Giant signing. At one time, I did actually think, I didn't know if he'd win the Rumble, but I thought he would get his flowers, I hate that term, at Mania and get the world title. But now, not really. He's definitely taking a back seat. But
that time's
But look, I'd fucking love that, because I'm a huge Sami fan, so I'd be happy with it. I do like the evil Drew heel turn. I think it was far time to do that with Drew. He'd gotten stale. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like what they're doing with Drew, but I think for the Rumble itself, to build some, I guess, mystique to it, be a little less predictable, you need another guy that can realistically win that thing in your mind. Like, okay, that would make sense if they like for smart marks like ourselves that think we're smart. Like, okay, who can we? There's usually what 3 or 4 guys that we can be like, okay, maybe they could win the Rumble.
You can't,
but it's usually 1 or 2. You're usually picking between 2.
You feel
so it's
last summer. I feel like my favorite going into this was Gunter to win the world title from Rollins and Mania. Now that's completely out the window for me. I feel like if you book Cody to win 2 in a row, people are going to resent that. You just brought him back. Punk has to win it as a statement. He just has to. And we could go on with this weeks of Rollins not even acknowledging Punk. When Punk winning the Rumble, he could be like, well, you got to acknowledge me now, motherfucker, because I'm coming for you. You could go that way. As far as the winner going at Roman, I think the fans would just shit on that. Cody, especially if he's 30 again 2 years in a row. Pampered baby boy.
Yeah.
But I do think
Cody,
do you agree that Cody is taking that belt finally at Mania? It's night 2.
I think that's common knowledge at this point, or at least what everyone thinks.
Now, like you said, we'll get into it right now. The Austin thing has been all over the news this week. That could completely 100% shake things up. It's totally in the cards. Right. Austin was very happy with his match with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens was, the company was. Austin didn't have to do too much, but it made it look like at least a viable fight. He looked fine. Yeah. I was actually shocked at some of the bumps he took, like it was 98. And
yeah, I mean,
let's be real. 40th milestone type Mania, there's got to be maybe 3 is a stretch, Michael. 3 dream matches left in this company, and this is one of them.
Oh my god!
And if you're gonna do it, just fucking do it. But don't.
If you were gonna do it, this is about your last chance.
And then maybe you can do Rollins and Gunter or Sami Zayn. You know, maybe.
Yeah. Like, my only problem with someone other than Cody winning the Rumble is how does Cody get to Roman then?
It leans back into that how he talked to Nick Aldis to get Jay to Raw or whatever the fuck that was a couple months ago.
I feel like Cody almost has to win the Rumble because that's the only thing plausibly that makes sense for him to get to Roman Reigns.
Cody's so good as like a snake oil salesman in a promo too. They could write a promo where he tricks someone into accidentally signing him over to Roman's brand. He tricks Paul Heyman into accidentally giving him a title match. Something.
Yeah, I could see that. But I think it's interesting what they're going to do with Punk. If I was going to, I guess, bet money on who he's going to be with at Mania, I would probably put it on Seth Rollins.
See, I'm going to go big money on it. I'm going to go Austin. I think they're going to go Austin. I think Austin's trading right now. I think Austin's waking up at 4 a.m. today, has an IPA, a raw egg, and starts briskly jogging.
That sounds awful. Just what I want to do. Wake up 4 a.m. and have a raw egg and a fucking beer. Like, ugh. 2 things that should never go to. Well, 3 things. You're not getting me up at 4 a.m. either.
Yeah.
That just sounds awful.
It does. I also totally agree. I thought not one of my favorite shows of all time, but probably my favorite show they've done this year besides Backlash. I really enjoyed Backlash. It goes back to the crowd thing again, man. You know,
other than Mania, it was probably one of my favorite atmospheres of the whole year.
You know why Survivor Series was an eye-opening, and yeah, they're back on track now as far as Vince is out of the picture. Shit's fuck when Triple H is around, because Monday sucked because Triple H wasn't there. It was Bruce Pritchard writing Raw, so that makes total fucking sense why Raw sucked Monday. Well, Triple H let people know that too. He tweeted that out too this week, like unproved. Like, by the way, I wasn't there at Raw. He reads tweets. He sees it.
Well, him and Nick Khan were evidently, finalizing some TV rights and stuff. So
yeah,
he was doing some corporate shit.
The big rumor with Raw apparently is that they're one last avenue just to be on an actual like a Netflix, or they've got all the other bases covered. So there's a big potential Raw could go like Amazon, Netflix.
Yeah.
So
SmackDown's going to USA, so it's going back to that.
Which one?
And then I heard
NXT CW, right?
Yes, yeah. That's supposed to be on the CW. And I think there wasn't it one other promotion that signed with CW also? Was it NWA?
No, they did. Until you saw that story with the cocaine spot, Father James Smith.
Oh yeah, that's right. They pulled it. But yeah, so yeah, in 2023, you think you're going to get away with that? I mean, ballsy move, but you're going to upset a lot of people in 2023 with that one. But yeah, CM Punk, I would love to see him with Stone Cold at Mania. if the match makes sense.
They
Like,
have.
Do I think they're going to have a 5-star classic?
No, that's not what it's about. It's about the promos. They have to do what they didn't do with Kevin Owens and Steve Austin, because you did not see Steve Austin one time on that build-up. There were no promos.
Yeah.
This cannot rely on the match. Those promos are you're going to come before the sex. You know what I mean?
See, but I worry with Stone Cold being gone so long. Everyone remembers Stone Cold as like this great promo, and I don't necessarily think of him in that light. I thought he was a great character. I don't think his promos, I don't think he ever had like a legendary promo to me that I'm just like, you remember that one promo he cut, other than King of the Ring?
Right. The gun promo. Austin's got a gun.
Okay, but that was a segment more than a promo.
Yeah, because
you know what I mean? Like,
because
he had a bunch of legendary moments, but not promos. You know what I mean?
You're right. His promos were always in spurts, and like the guy was standing on the ramp and he was in the ring, and it was like, go 4 minutes.
If you want me to kick this guy's ass, give me a hell yeah. That was pretty much his promo. So,
but the beauty about wrestling is, I guess, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, that's my only worry about that. If they go too overboard with it, is I feel like Punk might eat him up a little bit on the mic, and I don't think that's how you really want to take one of your most popular stars of all time and just feed him to a shark like Punk on a mic.
Well, for the Punk fans,
but I'm sure they're both professional enough to come up with some stuff that would.
Those guys are friendly enough, because they are friends, and they would be professional enough to get together and be like, all right, let's sit down with the list, and this is what we're gonna. I could totally picture that over a beer and a milk, I guess.
A Pepsi.
You want to talk about anything else WWE related before we get to the legal matters of the week part of the show?
Well, I mean, CM Punk wasn't the only story of Survivor Series. We have to say a big welcome back to R-Truth. Glad to see him back again. Still looks like he hasn't aged a day.
You know what I was saying? Now it came back to me. I actually trailed off earlier. It's very eye-opening that they're firing all cylinders right now with all the stacked talent. AEW and WWE both have stacked talent, but I feel like WWE slightly, not incredibly, spreads them out and finds an equal way to use them to their fullest. There was no LA Knight on Survivor Series, period. Just a Slim Jim commercial. So when I see that there was that comedy segment with the Ruffles and Otis and R-Truth, and I fucking love Pretty Deadly, I know you don't, and Pretty Deadly, and I was like, oh God, here comes LA Knight, and he didn't. I'm like, thank God. I feel like I wasn't bummed about Crown Jewel, because only a fucking schmuck would think he was winning Crown Jewel. They're taking their time to see if this lasts. Well,
it's not just that. I think it's a great process that they do. They're elevating this talent. They don't have to win.
Exactly.
But when you put them in these main events, you start to think of them in another light.
He's going to beat Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the U.S. title, the number 2 heel.
Probably.
He's going to do fine.
But at least, now you look at LA Knight as a top tier talent.
I mean, I feel like
you didn't before. You know what I mean?
Did you see SmackDown, that clip where they announced the U.S. title tournament guys, the NXT surprise and stuff?
Yeah.
So LA Knight was nowhere to be seen on there, and if anyone would be a contender, he's winning the belt at Mania. I feel like, guys.
He's got to do something at Mania. It's going to be right around his backyard, not far away from home from him.
Maybe you have.
So I feel like he's going to have a lot of fanfare.
Yeah. Maybe you go lazy booking and just like have Logan Paul in the Rumble and he eliminates LA Knight. Because, I mean, if you have a babyface LA Knight, that's not going to be a babyface much longer. They are going to hate that. And that would make sense. I know it's lazy, but that could segue into the WrestleMania match.
Yeah. But, I mean, also, we can't not address Randy Orton's back. First time in a year and a half. Welcome back.
Looks fantastic.
Once again, another top tier talent that you got to figure out what to do with.
I want to know his secret because it looks like 05 Randy.
Obviously, he's been training. He's been saying his prayers, eating his vitamins,
drinking his hoovy juice,
drinking some hoovy juice.
Tamara Lynn fucked. My God, this woman, Tammy Lynn Sytch. Better known as one of our first childhood boners, Sunny, from the New Generation days. Everyone knows Sunny. 17 years in the manslaughter DUI trial. This woman, I don't have any of my lists because quite frankly, she's not worth it. But I know it's been at least 25 DUIs, not to mention restraining orders from boyfriends, assault, drugs, porn, trying to sell. I think she did sell her Hall of Fame ring. I'm pretty sure that happened for drugs or porn.
I saw it on Pawn Stars, I think.
She's
or something, but yeah,
not exactly the crush we had as kids. Now she kind of resembles, like, I don't know, like the Rock Don Morocco in a way with blonde hair. I don't know. 17. She was looking at a maximum, Michael, of 25 to life.
Yeah.
You throw the life out the window. She hit an elderly man who was parked at a red light. She was that fucking drunk.
Well, she was facing multiple counts there, so I think she just pled down to the one count and took the plea deal.
The most shocking part about this, even after this incident happened, she was booked, released, bonded out. She got on Twitter the next day and just gave people shit that were like, "You killed an innocent person," and she was just being herself. Good old.
Now,
Tammy.
from what I read, this was her 6th DUI conviction.
Okay. 25 was an exaggeration, but is it? It's sunny.
Well, no, but I get what you're saying, and she did blow a .08, which I guess which they said is the legal limit, but that's not how they determine a DUI. You could blow a .02, and if they think you're impaired, you're impaired. So, I mean, I definitely feel for the person's family. You never want somebody that you love to go out like in tragedy like that. I think it's just awful, no matter how old the man was. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's not and you want to go out on your terms, and it wasn't his terms.
Correct. And Sonny, I'm sure deep down is not a terrible person. I think we've all made mistakes in our life. I hope that she gets this time in prison to really turn her life around for what she has left.
Well, this is it. This is your last redeeming shot when you're a free citizen again. This is it.
I mean, taking someone's life, if that doesn't wake you up out of whatever spell your addiction you're in, I don't know what will.
You know who it's not working for right now, Michael? Nick Hogan back in the news. See that?
Oh, God.
Jesus. He looks like Tank Abbott. This fucking guy turned his best friend into a vegetable. Yep. A fucking vegetable.
And just from past videos that I've heard from when he was locked up for that, like, didn't sound very remorseful, talking about trying to get a reality show for himself and his comeback and his redemption story.
The great comeback of Nick Hogan in the first place.
Yeah, like, this was back when Hogan Knows Best was still, I think, kind of a thing. And he was already looking at his redemption story. I was just like, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be your best friend.
Look, I'm certainly no saint when it comes to this. I will fully throw myself under the bus. Years ago, but you know what? I learned from my fucking lesson, and I never killed anybody. And
same. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've made lots of mistakes in my life, but luckily I've never killed anybody due to any of my mistakes.
See, this is how when you're laying in bed at night, it clicks. Oh, I'm a normal person because I felt bad about it. I didn't fucking do it again. Yes.
Yeah.
So, C'est La Vie doesn't break my heart. I used to say hate to see you leave, but love to watch you walk away. Not so much anymore because, like I said, I don't think Don Morocco is that sexy. Michael, I had an idea since we're almost out of time. What an episode this week. So good. Back in the fold. We're going to try a new thing for a couple. We're going to see how it goes. Maybe we'll bring polls back, Michael. I know you're a big fan of your polls.
Hey, calm her down.
I want to focus on, right now, last 10 or so minutes of the show, a retro spotlight of a guy we grew up watching.
Oh, God.
Well, no, I'm actually going to. It's nothing like that. It could be, but
Adam Bob.
No. Come on. It's a guy who's actually got a brand new podcast out over there on WSI, the same one Dutchman tells on that network. It's about episode 15. Really good, really. I mean, he runs a wrestling school now. The franchise, Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think about this guy?
Well, I mean, I feel like one of those guys that's really underrated in the big scheme of professional wrestling history.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a guy who's been everywhere, won championships, made, lots of memories in places where, like ECW. He was, I think, one of their main guys for God knows how long. The independent scene, just WWE. He was. I remember him both as a young guy in WWE and WCW. Like, do you remember the mullet Shane Douglas from the 1990 Royal Rumble? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that baby-faced mullet.
The one when
Shane
we're
Douglas.
watching the VHS tape as a kid, and we're not in the know, and those legendary Vince intros, the Barbarian, Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
You could tell it was edited in like the last second.
Yeah,
It just didn't fit.
but I mean, this is where you forget how long that guy's been around.
Trained by the legendary Dominic Nanucci. Him and Mick Foley both went to the same wrestling school, same time.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
What he was and the guy could work.
Really
Like,
could. So
and
now
was a good promo.
not always high points in the crew.
No, but I mean, good promo. Guy was always a good promo. He could work. Like, he just couldn't get out of his own way sometimes, I felt like, to really get over that hump as a top tier.
I don't think that
Star.
there's any argument. The best version of Shane Douglas, Michael, is that 97 to 99 ultra heel franchise and ECW World Heavyweight Champion. And I still say, whenever I go to the rooftops and shout it, maybe not now because it's December and slippery, Triple H totally stole his gimmick in 99. The game, the franchise, the leather beret, the cut the fucking music, the girl, just the everything about Shane Douglas. And then it just got depressing to watch. Then Shane cut his hair, and not to make that the whole, but then started wearing the long boy tights, and just the WCW run was so fucking dull, and just, unfortunately.
Well,
unfortunately.
And what could have been with the Dean Douglas gimmick, which I thought was actually a little ahead of its time there. Kind of a stupid gimmick, but I thought a guy that really made the most out of nothing.
It's a weird thing where I hate that gimmick, but there's certain things when he did promos, like, man, you just tweak some things, and that would, like the way I stole it when I did the Alan Abernathy character, the way he started every promo. Definition, jovial, or shit like that. No, I never heard anyone to this day do shit like, man, it's just like when William Regal won the King of the Ring in 08. If they just would have tweaked a certain amount of things, he could have been an evil world champion.
Well, and at least from what I've read, there was a lot of backstage politicking that kind of held him down a little bit as well.
Yeah,
but
it's all over YouTube, guys. Him and the Click. I mean, he does his podcast. Like I said, check it out. It's called Franchise University on Spotify. Sadly, he was a producer for TNA and stuff. He had a really bad OxyContin addiction. He talks about all this. He overcame it. Running a wrestling school now. Seems like a great guy. I'm not so keen on his love of the Pittsburgh Steelers and Pittsburgh Pirates, but do you, Shane? I personally, my end of Slam Pigs, I'm a fan of Shane Douglas. Michael?
Same.
I thought the belly to belly as a finisher was kind of lame, but besides that,
yeah, I think I liked him. I would have liked him better with like a submission finisher.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's it.
It would have made more sense.
Totally made more sense. That is it. Maybe there'll be a poll up on Twitter this week. Maybe Mike and I get together the messages. So glad. I know I've been bugging you all fucking week, Pastor. You want to do a show? Hey, you too busy? And I know.
Hey, and I apologize, man. It's just that time of the year.
I get it.
Got Christmas coming. Got things that need done. I mean, you got to kind of. I know they say happy wife, happy life, but you got it kind of good there. You got a wife to help you out with some stuff. I'm stuck here trying to do all this Christmas stuff by myself, but I'm still trying to get the hang of it. I'm in like year 3 now of doing all the Christmas stuff myself.
Well, guys,
so I feel like each year,
we're gonna start a Patreon. Let's get Michael a wife for Christmas, so he doesn't. And to be fair, she didn't help me with shit with the lights outside. She just watched the dogs. Or it's like,
way to go,
well,
Clark.
as I call it, you can't see my quotey fingers right now. Watch the dogs. I love you, man. I'm glad you're back. Glad it's in the books. This is going to go down as one of my favorite episodes we've ever done. I know it already. Who knows what? By the way that fucking news goes in wrestling next week, we could talk about fucking Akira Tozawa grew a third arm, or fucking Awesome Kong's back in the Rumble, or Jesus fucking Christ. Who knows who's going to run WWE next week, and who knows what dead brand like TNA will be resurrected. But I know one thing.
Hey, it's that time of year also. I believe we have to do some end of the year awards.
Would it be 8? Did we do it every single year?
I don't think we've done it every year. But
either way, our year
we need to.
Next time,
Yes.
when we return, our year-end awards. God help me on what some of the topics are going to be. One of my favorite episodes to do of the year. Right now, one more time, please hit that red button down below. We lost the channel, Hibiki TMD on YouTube. It is still there if you want to catch all our old stuff. Starting our own thing here. Spread the word. We appreciate it so much on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You guys going above and beyond. Loving you're doing what we're digging. Hopefully I'll get Michael into some of these wrestling Let's Plays I'm doing. Next time I'm thinking about maybe the old virtual pro wrestling game. Maybe the old classic arcade superstar.